Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Rakesh. Rakesh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Qasim. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Awesome, great, thank you. So, Rakesh, let us know where you live and what you do.
I kind of shuffle between San Francisco Bay Area and India. So we are a Bay Area based company with engineering in India. As you can pretty well figure out that I am an Indian with my hard accent and my looks. But yeah, that's what I am. I am founder of a company called The Capital Net. We are full stack technology for fund management and fund administration for VCs and private equity, helping them manage the painful parts of the VC business. Everything after they have kind of identified which company to invest in, everything after that until they exit and beyond sometimes as well. That's what, in short, we do.
Awesome. That's great, Rakesh. So, Rakesh, let us know a little bit about your inspiration, why you started this business. What was the biggest inspiration behind it?
I think inspiration is market itself, Qasim. I've been working for almost about 27, 28 years, have stayed in very close proximity of the venture business for several reasons. Whether it has been the startups that I have worked with, which have grown either to be acquired by the larger corporations or they have gone IPO on NASDAQ, or as a investor in my own personal capacity, have worked with startups in the VC PE ecosystem in different capacities. What was interesting to note, Qasim, in all these years that I have seen this industry grow, is that the tech stack for this ecosystem has not kept the pace with the industry itself. Right. So I'm sure you would have noticed in the last 10 years how the private markets AUM has grown from few $100 billion to almost about $8 trillion as we speak right now, and expected to be about $11 trillion in next 2 years. And the funny part is that this 10, 11, $12 trillion still largely being managed on the spreadsheets. I believe it was ripe for the disruption, and that's where we came in and built what we have now.
Awesome. So, Rakesh, in fact, for every business, differentiators are important. And in terms of your differentiator, what are your differentiators in your business from the others in the market?
See, you have to understand a little bit of the business, because I believe the venture business is kind of a little opaque, if not exactly opaque, a little gray for most of the people who may be listening to it. But we have to understand that it's not plain simple piece of somebody investing their own money into the startups, right? So there is a venture business, and the founders of the venture business, or the partners as we know them, they themselves are entrepreneurs. They are raising money for their funds. They have fiduciary requirements. They have to manage the investment opportunities. They have to find the right investment opportunities, evaluate them on the right criteria, report it back to the investors the way founders have to do, have the fiduciary requirements. And all these pieces are complex. The numbers are complex. The fiduciary and the regulatory framework is hard on them, probably much harder than it is on the startup founders. If I go back to what I said initially, answering your question, what is the differentiator? If it is on spreadsheet can give you what it can give. We all know what spreadsheets can do, right? It brings minimal or no intelligence to it. It brings minimal to no speed to execute things. I think the results are dependent on the person who's actually working on the spreadsheet. It's capped by the intelligence and the understanding of the individual who's running it, right? So the industry required and needed a more intelligent, smart, faster system. And further, if I compare it as a differentiator with other systems, I don't say that there are none in the market, but it's either they are too siloed between the different parts of the businesses. So deal management, portfolio management, compliance, back office, and so on. That's one of the things. So we bring the whole end-to-end tech stack and not siloed by one particular part of the business. Second, we bring a lot of data integrity, auditability, the single source of truth, a lot of intelligence, one-click data analysis and availability when it is needed, and obviously bringing a lot of efficiency in terms of time, money, energy that is required to run that business.
Makes sense. Completely makes sense. So, Rakesh, in this process, I believe there is a big team required as well. And in your case, you have maybe not a big team, but at least a reasonable team is required. So, in your case, some of your team is in India and in US as well. So, how you're managing? Because you said sometimes you are in USA and sometimes you are in India. So, are you traveling a lot because of this, or it is okay to work remote as well?
Well, I personally travel a lot, right? I have been doing it all my career. I have worked with organizations and I have run operations in several continents and countries for that matter. So personally, I'm used to that. But from the team point of view, I would say it's the art lies in finding the right people, right? And we have been blessed with the right people who have come on board and joined our vision. We are a very small, lean team, about 13, 14 people who have been able to build a pretty Herculean system as it stands today, I would say. And the team is accountable, team is smart, and they know what to deliver. They know what they are getting into. And when you are blessed with a team which is sharp enough, self-accountable, then your half your job as a founder is done.
Yeah, indeed, exactly. So in this case, obviously there's trust involved, there's dependability, depend on others as well. So what are the soft skills like that are required to manage team in this way? Because again, at the end, if the team is not fitting with you, you have to trust. You have like you cannot do other than this. You have to trust on someone who is managing. So how you cope up with this thing?
See, the principles of managing and running the team don't change in a small environment versus large environment. The only thing that changes is your ability to compensate them for their efforts, right? Probably as an early stage founder, your appetite to compensate is not as much as a large corporation would be. And that's where the only challenge comes in. But then I think most of the people, they want to do what they believe they are capable of doing. As long as you equip them to perform what they're expected to perform, you train them about what they are supposed to perform, and you let them perform. Things are taken care of.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the big thing. Like you let them perform. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the marketing because marketing and strategy is an essential part of any business. And the age of today, we can say digital marketing is is becoming one of the essential. I think you can say. Other than that, word of mouth is obviously always good. But how you are managing this thing in your business, like you are utilizing both offline and online marketing, or you are relying more on one of them?
See, as you rightly said, the digital marketing is given. It's unavoidable today, right? So we do all the digital pieces of social media to SEO to PR to backlinks to crosslinks, whatever is required there. Even getting into digital side of podcasts and some of the other pieces that are helpful to get a visibility on the digital side of it. But our consumer or the customer is such which is very niche in knowledge, right? So you have to go out a lot offline, network, and use the right channels to find and work with them. So there's a fair amount of education that goes into our system. Education not about their domain, but education about how systems can make their lives better,
Yeah.
right? Because they have not been used to that much. As I mentioned it earlier, it has been pretty chaotic systems in most of the venture builders' lives.
Yeah.
That's what requires a behavioral change and education. And so we go a lot out between the events to sponsorships to networking to channel partners to working with the right bodies which have the niche membership around the customer that we are looking for.
Makes sense. That makes sense. So what is your client acquisition process? How you acquire a client?
See, we are a typical B2B organization, right? So it goes through its own cycle of the outreach to, well, there are times that I think times have increased much or manyfold now, where we get the inbounds as well. But then whether inbound or outbound, once the interest is qualified, then it gets into the same process of the demoing to multiple rounds of probably the demoing, depending on how large a customer we are talking about. A smaller fund, a demo to decision and closing and acquisition perhaps would be much shorter. It can close in as short as a month and a half time. But we have gone through the times where we probably have taken 8, 10, 12 months to close certain large customers as well, being corporate, having their own processes, policies. Sometimes we also had to go out of the way to get some of the compliances done, which their IT wanted to do, and so on. So I think our client acquisition process, while it's very typical to any B2B SaaS, as I said, it requires a little extra effort of educating the customer at multiple levels of how a system can really make difference in the business of alternatives management.
Yeah, makes sense. In fact, this process may be varying for every organization. Even in B2B organizations, this process must be different for everybody else. So, all right. So, in terms of the challenges, I believe for entrepreneurs, every day there's a new challenge. So I'm sure you must have faced many challenges. So obviously we cannot cover all those challenges, but can you share one of the challenge with us that you were able to, like maybe the biggest challenge that you faced and how you were able to cope up with that challenge?
That's a tough question to answer because the biggest challenge changes every day, right? So today something else is a bigger challenge, as tomorrow something else probably would be. And I always say, as a founder, you live all humanly possible emotions in one single day. Right, you start with excitement, then you get into anxiety, then anger, then happiness, and something will come and then change things. So you live all the humanly possible emotion. So there are two parts to it, right? So if I talk about as a founder, the biggest challenge for any founder, and I'm no different, is to keep a control of your own mind. As a business, the challenge changes. I think there are 3 or 4 primary challenges that every founder goes through, and that again the priority changes on different situations. And those challenges will remain between capital, people, visibility/marketing, and getting more customers on board. So I think these 3 or 4 challenges that keep on changing their priority based on what the day looks like and where you stand that day.
Makes sense. Let's say if we talk about only one challenge, in fact, we want to know how you are able to overcome with your challenges, because this is a mind game. You have to be focused on it. But still, can you tell us about any one that you were able to
Yes, happy to do that. If I just pick from our business point of view, I think the biggest challenge that we had, particularly in the early days, and which has been largely overcome now, but probably would not end for a very long time, is probably more around the knowledge of the industry itself. It's a pretty wide industry. While we talk about VC as one, but alternatives is a very large industry, private markets per se, right? So you have different models and different jurisdictions and different ways to address those things. While it may look like, again, that's deal sourcing, deal evaluation, portfolio management, exit, and return the money, but there are a lot of nuances which keep on changing. There are a lot of variables. So acquiring that knowledge is probably a big challenge for a niche B2B system like ours. And how we have been able to overcome is by finding the right customer partners, right? When I say customer partners, I mean the people who believe during your early days when you are still talking on probably a napkin or a piece of paper or a PowerPoint and say, okay, I want to do this, right? And they believe that, there is a need and we are happy to work with you. And that kind of changes over a period of time in the sense that the need of the knowledge gets deeper and deeper, right? And more customers you acquire, the more in-depth knowledge, either through customer partners or through the right sources, acquiring that and then translating into the solution, where I think we have already spoken about the team playing the right role comes in. So one, understanding your customer real need, right? Not what you think is the real need, but what customer really needs, and then building it is probably what is a biggest challenge, or what we have seen as a biggest challenge. I think rest of the things can be taken care of. If you have customer need identified and the customer is ready to pay for it, rest of the things fall in place.
Yeah, makes sense. In fact, I can quote one thing from my side as well in this case. In fact, we also faced this challenge years ago, and we had to understand the market, how the market is going on, what are the problems going on in the market. So what we did is we started interviewing. Basically, we changed our niche to e-commerce. in 2023 and early 2023. And what we did is we interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs in e-commerce. And in this way, we were able to understand the market. We were able to understand the clientele in the market. And this helped us a lot. So,
That makes a lot of sense. And Kasim, I always say, because of probably the number of years I've lived on the earth, I always say the facts and the truth lies in the history. And if you look historically, any good product company actually has evolved that way. If you have not worked alongside your customer, a product which scales and goes and wins the market cannot be built.
sense. Yeah, that completely makes sense. So yeah, this is something we were able to learn. In fact, we also did some partnerships with the clients in that industry, and we went through with them in the challenges. So yeah, this helped us a lot. Awesome. Well, this is one of the biggest challenge I believe that you just mentioned. Almost every business, especially B2B, but almost every business, even other businesses as well, they face this challenge, and this will be very helpful to think for our audience. Awesome. So at the end, let us know a little bit about your goals, how you are setting up your goals, and what are your short-term goals as well.
I think both short-term and long-term goal remains to be the gold standard of fund management and fund administration solution in the market globally, for that matter. We already have customers in about 17 countries as we speak right now, and to be that gold standard. But if I have to quantify that, I would say it's about adding more asset classes to be managed, to facilitate more jurisdictions, more pieces which really pains our customer. Plus, obviously, as the buzz is evolving, and so are we, is to make real use of AI to solve the real use cases and address what we have been addressing so far in a more.
All right, all right. So yeah, this is a buzzword, and I think every business is trying to engage the AI in their businesses. But I think still there are many businesses that are running without AI, and maybe AI might not be that much helpful for them. But obviously, again, this is something that will vary business to business. So Rakesh, that was an awesome session. I really enjoyed it. So at the end, can you please let our viewers know? In fact, if you can share one of your biggest piece of advice, then this will be great with our viewers.
My biggest advice as a founder is that overnight success does not exist. Right? Most of the people who get into building a venture think that I will build something today and probably will be sipping my vodka or martini or whatever I like on a beach a year later. Does not happen. There are only few such stories which make the noise. Most of those do not. So you have to be patient. You have to evolve yourself. You have to evolve your solution. You have to evolve your strategies. While, as I said earlier, keeping a control of yourself and your own mind.
Yeah, awesome. That's beautiful advice. In fact, maybe if someone is looking to get rich overnight, then probably they might have to look into the crypto market.
Well, that's also depends what's the timing, right? You don't know when FTS happens or something else happens. So
yeah, exactly. Awesome. So Rakesh, please let our viewers know how they can reach you if anybody wants to reach you.
pretty easy to reach. I'm on LinkedIn by the name Dr. Rakesh Bhatia. My Twitter handle is Rakesh Bhatia, my full name. I am pretty responsive to both my LinkedIn DMs and the Twitter DMs. So happy to catch up anybody who wants to say hello, have any questions, or want to talk about the private markets or entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Well, Rakesh, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. I really enjoyed the session, and it was pretty helpful and informative as well. So thank
Pleasure
you.
is all mine. Thank you so much, Qasim, for having me over.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.